Okay, so my name is Christopher Perez. I attend Da Vinci Design. I'm a 10th grader. I will now present my English 10 and Modern World History POL. So for English, we have to choose a character and do one of the characteristics and state evidence on why we believe that it's their characteristic. And the character I chose is Guy Montag. The Guy Montag is a confused character who reveals his loss of actions when he begins to do things he's not aware of. And then my first piece of evidence is, so it was the hand that started it all. His hands had been infected, and soon it would be his arm. He could feel the poison working up his wrist and into his elbows and his shoulders, and his eyes were beginning to feel hunger, as if they must look at something, anything, everything. So this, like, stating that he lets his hands take over. So I feel like he's confused because he doesn't know, like, what to listen to. So he kind of just lets his hands do, like, what they want, and then he does actions that he doesn't mean to, but he just lets his hands do what they want. And this is an example of what he does. So that second piece of evidence is Montag's hands picked up the Bible, he saw what his hands had done, and he looked surprised. Montag stood there and waited for the next thing to happen. His hands by themselves, like two men working together, began to rip the pages from the book. "Idiot, what are you doing?" Faber sprang up. So it's saying he basically ripped the Bible because he let his hands do whatever they wanted to, instead of him thinking about what he's doing before he does it. And then evidence 3 is Montag could not move. A great earthquake had come with fire and leveled the house, and Mildred was under there somewhere, and his entire life under there. He could not move. Montag did not hear, he was far away. He who was running with his mind, he was gone, leaving his dead suit covered body to sway in front of another raving fool. So this is also saying that he doesn't realize what he does. It says he was gone, leaving this, or he was far away, he was running with his mind. He was gone. So like his mind really doesn't like work as well. So he just lets his hands do what they want instead of thinking about it. And then it says he couldn't move, which is also an example of why he didn't realize what he's doing. He just does it. And then that would now begin the history section. So for history, I'm going to present on essential skill number 2, revolutions. Revolution is the overthrow of a ruler or political system, a major change in ideas or practice. The thesis is the French and American revolutions are very similar, important, but they have many differences as well. My first piece of evidence is the French Revolution failed because they had failed to achieve their goals, and they changed their goals at the end. Instead of fighting for freedom and independence, they fought for revenge. So I got this from the Unit 1 exam. So they failed because they wanted to achieve their goals, but they messed up because they wanted to get revenge instead. They had weak leadership, King Louis. They had economic crisis, which caused starvation, enlightenment, inspiration, people reformed, and social inequalities. The third estate was really unhappy.
What's his name?
King Louis. The 16.
Is that his name? Is that his real name? Which is what? What? What should you do?
Capitalize.
Okay. Oh,
And the second piece of evidence is the American Revolution achieved their goals by making a long-lasting constitution written by Thomas Jefferson and James Madison that gave them freedom and independence. So they achieved their goals by making a long-lasting constitution, even though they did fight for it. They didn't change their goals, and they tried to achieve them. I got that from the Unit 1 exam also. The Bill of Rights was part of the Constitution that allowed people to have these things such as freedom and independence. And that third piece of evidence is some similarities between the two, that the Americans and the French both fought against the English army, the England army. They both wanted freedom and independence for their countries. Thank you for your attention.
Can you tell me why the third state was unhappy?
They were happy because they had to pay taxes and they were lower than everybody else, so they didn't like to not have a vote or part in anything.
Okay, and then what did you mean when you talked about enlightenment thinkers inspired the revolution?
Because people, so they help by getting people like, people believed in them, so then they would want to achieve more because they knew that there's other people that also believe in those ideas.
Thank you. And I just pushed this one through.
So some things I annotated was where it says, "Why should I strive and acquire all the constituents of a man if the prevailing current way of thinking of the land states I am not as much or but in an inferior degree." So I underlined it because it kind of means like the African Americans say, "Why should I try so hard yet get nothing in return?" And why should they try if people aren't going to think that we're any higher or any lower than we are now? And then I also underline, "No one will employ me. White boys won't work with me. Shall I be a merchant? No one will have me in his office. White clerks won't associate with me." So it basically means like Africans can't do anything because they can't like really get jobs because no one will employ them. Nobody wants them to work for them. And then I also underlined drudgery, labor, and servitude, slavery. Then are my prospective potential paths. So like African Americans, they basically have one role, and it's like everybody knows what it is. So basically, they just have to be slaves or labor workers, and that's their potential path that most of them have.
Go ahead, you can do your thesis.
But for the thesis, I put, "The speech reveals that society's treatment of African Americans in 1819 was terrible."
Okay, and then your evidence?
I put it, this document written by the History of the New York African Free Schools states, "Why should I strive and acquire all the constituent component of a man if the prevailing current way of thinking of the land states I am not as much or but an inferior degree?"
Okay, and your analysis?
The Africans did not get anything in return, and they never got their freedom. So why should they try? Why should they try harder than everybody else just to get thought of as nothing more than a slave?
Okay, so what is being violated here?
Their rights to be free or to work as whatever they want to work as.
Okay, when you're constructing your analysis is a big, like, why component. So just ask yourself why. Like, why are they being treated this way? Like,
Yeah.
why are their rights being violated? Okay, so just keep going until like, you get to that point. All right, thank you. Grammar trade.
Why you put comma between these and it?
Because it's an independent clause and a dependent clause, and like it doesn't. You need a pause where it says Apple gave us the computer anyone can use, and then it's a pause, and then it is very expensive. It's two different.
Very good. Is always, always, always. You what? It's am are what or being been. They're always. Yep. So since that's a verb, it is. Why do you say as adjective?
Which one?
It.
Because like it's saying what it is, like the computer.
It describes
It.
it, that's what I mean. So it is a pronoun, which is a reference to the computer. So it's a pronoun, it's also a what?
Wait. It's a noun.
Okay, what noun? Good job. So we got a noun and a verb in that little second part of your clause. If we got a noun and a verb, if I said, it is very expensive, is that a complete thought?
No. Wait. It's yes.
Yes, it's a complete thought, and it's a complete sentence. Can it stand on its own? It is very expensive. If it can stand on its own, what kind of clause is it?
So independent.
Independent, so make that independent. So where you have your independent clause, that means Apple gave us a computer anyone can use. I could end that sentence right there, right?
Yeah.
So just above your comma, put a period. And that changes that punctuation into what?
Some.
A semicolon, because in a semicolon, we separate what two clauses? Yes, two independent clauses. So semicolon separates two independent clauses, comma separate independent and dependent. Very good, Christopher. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.